Just want to test my sound here. I know it sound's been okay, but I want to see if I can get it any clearer than it has been. Yeah, it sounds been okay, but I want to see if I can get it any clearer. Let's try this one. Quick mic check. Check. Let's try this one. Quick mic check. Check. Let's try this one. Okay, we'll go back to what we originally had as sound. I did so I can get the quality of the sound better, but clearly this is what we used to do. Okay. Everybody's in room and let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Thank you all for joining us. This is Deontay versus Luis Ortiz. It's a live preview show. And I think the final preview show I'll be doing today. First off, one thing I'm sure of, Deontay Wilder is, for my money, the biggest one-punch knockout puncher in world boxing at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt, at elite level. He can hit with your right hand and put you to sleep with one shot. No referee needed, one shot. We need any reminders of it. We saw what he did with Stavern, a guy who had never been previously knocked out like that. Impressive. We've seen him put people to sleep and their legs be shaking when he's hit them. He is a thunderous puncher. I think speed times strength equals that power. And he is a fearsome puncher. And Team Joshua are in no rush to be mixing out with Wilder at this point. That is a real gamble when you fight Wilder. Wilder's got a lot of flack in his career. And now he fights, in some people's estimation, in many people's estimation, the best heavyweight in the world in Luis Ortiz. Nobody's in a rush for Luis Ortiz to fight Anthony Joshua or Joseph Parker. Luis Ortiz was considered by many the #1 heavyweight in the world for a while, and it was everybody else was ducking Luis Ortiz. The drug scandals come out about Ortiz. The first week, I remember interviewing Team Ortiz or Team King Kong, and they said that there was a mix-up with the bloods or the tests and a misunderstanding. And then since that interview, he was caught with blood pressure tablets. I see Luis Ortiz is looking in great shape. I just hope that this fight isn't cancelled of the week of the fight with further drug, PEDs, whatever else scandal. I really hope his boxing fans some boxing fans want to see this fight. I, for one, am not one of the guys that wanted to see Deontay Wilder fight Luis Ortiz. I didn't see what all the big fuss was about. And here's my story. Here's why I have not been so hyped about the fight, and explain why. Since Luis Ortiz beat Bryant Jennings, he was promoted. He then got promoted by Matchroom's Eddie Hearn. He came to the UK and had 2 fights. In my estimation, took his career back a year by fighting the likes of Malik Scott and Dave Allen, fighters that should have had no business being in the ring with the guy who was considered the best heavyweight in the world. Before that, he had fought. He'd come off wins against Tony Thompson and Bryant Jennings. Good fights against good fighters in the top 10 at the time. So it was good performances by Luis Ortiz. At that point right there, when he was #1, he was the interim champion for the WBA, At that point there, Luis Ortiz should have been fighting for a world title. Simple, straight up. Now, it's almost 2 years on, I don't think he should be fighting for the title, in the sense that I don't think you've had so much time to prepare. Let me rephrase that. It's not I don't think he should be fighting for the title. I just think that you've had 2 years, you've had enough time to know you're going to fight Deontay Wilder. Why have your management team or your promotional team not been promoting you in the manner that you need to be promoted? You know, you can't be a silent man getting into a world heavyweight title fight. You need to be promoted. You need to promote yourself. You need to be out there. People need to know who you are, what you're about. Because all the things that people know about you is what the media know about. Luis Ortiz, drug cheat. Luis Ortiz, PEDs. That's what people know of Luis Ortiz, the Cuban who's a cheat. Okay? And he's not a big ticket seller. I've argued with people on YouTube, comment section, forever and a day, that Luis Ortiz is not a big ticket seller. And what's made it worse is this scandal. Okay? And now, with the disappointing ticket sales, my point has been proven. My point has been proven, because you have to build a profile. It's not just about a guy being skilled. You have to build a profile, which means you're a ticket seller. Why should I come and pay a ticket to see you fight? Why? I don't understand what you're saying most of the time. I don't see much of you. You're supposedly a drug cheat. Why do I want to come see you fight? Do you get this? It's the picture in people's minds that's been painted. Rightly or wrongly, but that's media. I've told you already. Those who control the media control the minds. And so in this sport, Luis Ortiz, for whatever reason, has not been promoted the way he should be promoted. That's what a promoter is meant to do, a promotional team. That's what social media is there for. That's what Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, that's what all these things are there for. Not just to take pictures of yourself or to watch you training. People get to know your story, building the fighter. And Luis Ortiz, in the last 2 years, what's been done? And then he had a knockover job, which I argued profusely with people about. Again, go back and look at my videos. What did that prove? That proved nothing, that knockover job. He needed a fight where people could say, okay, yeah, he's ready, against a named opponent. Yo, Luis Ortiz was off for a while because of the drug thing. Okay, fine. But he should have been training and getting himself in shape, ready for that fight. That's what I think. And I had a fight that at least somebody had known who he was fighting. But the guy that he fought, he would have got better sparring. Luis Ortiz would have got better sparring partners. So it was terrible preparation. The biggest hype for this fight has been generated by when Deontay Wilder got in the ring and confronted Luis Ortiz. That's it. That's the big hype for the fight. Wilder got in the ring and confronted Ortiz. That's it. That is it. So all these people that say Luis Ortiz, you know, he's this and he's that, where are they now? They're not putting, that's not translating to bums on seats. Say what you want about Mayweather. He's a boring fighter. He's this, he's that. You know, hey, disappointing ticket sales when it comes around to Mayweather. He gets paid his money. So that's what it's about. And he uses Instagram, Facebook, wherever. And if he needs to talk shit to sell a fight, he talks shit to sell a fight. But he's there before the fight. Promotion is done. That's why can't knock Floyd for what he does and the promotions and what he does. Brilliant. But the promotion of this fight stinks. It's terrible. Much like the promotion for Stavern versus Wilder. But there you go. The fight itself, I think Deontay Wilder should be given all the credit in the world for fighting Luis Ortiz, even if he's 48, 49 or 50. Still, if he gets beat by Luis Ortiz, it's not a good look. Look, bottom line is this. There's been so much talk about Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, and so much hype has gone on about it, that has been the focus of many boxing fans. Not Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. So Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder have been put on the back burner. Unfortunately, boxing fans, Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder are fighting now, and Joshua's fighting Parker. Those four there, There's no certainty that any of the champions are going to retain their belts. No certainty. The only certainty is after the fight, is that there will be a belt around afterwards. Okay, that's the only certainty we know. The rest, you have to wait until fight night. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. You can give a prediction, but nobody really knows what's going to happen on the fight. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think that there are ways to promote yourself. There are ways to promote yourself. You've got the use of YouTube. You've got the use of Facebook. You've got the use of Twitter. You don't need to be reliant on the promoter to do that. You can do it yourself. You can do a Facebook Live. You can do a YouTube Live. I'm sure people will want to tune in and hear what you've got to say about it. But nothing. Niente. Nothing. And if Luis Ortiz gets beat by Deontay Wilder, he's not going to get another world title shot. That's the end of Luis Ortiz. I don't think. After this fight, I don't know if Luis Ortiz will be in a world title fight again. We want to see Luis Ortiz. It depends. That's why Luis Ortiz has got to take this fight with both hands and give it his best shot. I don't think he has had the right preparations to face what he's going to face in his career with Deontay Wilder at this stage of his career. And I'll say this, and it goes back to something I said a very, very long time ago when I talk about Luis Ortiz. I said, and I was told this when I was in the gym training in America, he said, a trainer once said to me, if you see a fighter throughout his career not fight a puncher or steer cleared away from punches, ask yourself why. Well, I've always said about Luis Ortiz, he's never been in the ring with a genuine puncher. Tony Thompson's not a genuine puncher. Brian Jennings is not a genuine one-punch knockout artist. And then he goes in. Now he's fighting the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division, I would say, bar none. And Wilder has lightning hand speed for me, very fast hands. That right hand comes out like a rocket when it comes out. And the gangly style and long arms, great. But he does do, between the two fighters, Luis Ortiz is the technically more sound fighter by far. Luis Ortiz throws punches correctly. Luis Ortiz puts himself in positions in the right manner. Luis Ortiz, has how to throw a jab in the right hand. He knows how to bring his hands back. Luis Ortiz doesn't leave his hands in the air and leaves himself exposed with his chin in the air. Luis Ortiz is a very good boxer. Very good, technically sound boxer. Wilder, like his name, Wild, is very unorthodox, and that is what may present a real problem for Mr. Ortiz. Because there are some nice moves Luis Ortiz has where he's able to rock back and throw that big left hand. That's nice. The guys he's fought, Bright Jennings, Dave Allen, Tony Thompson, a lot of those guys, have been, Tony Thompson, he's been old and past it. Dave Allen wasn't experienced. And Bright Jennings had just come off a bad loss to Klitschko. Those sort of situations will not be the case when he fights Deontay Wilder. A guy who's young, who's hungry, who's champion, who's at the top of his game and believes he can beat Mike Tyson. Really, to be honest, I'm not sure if Deontay Wilder actually believes he can beat Mike Tyson, but I do believe it's a great way to sell yourself. People get your face is in the press. People know about you. People are hearing about you. Who's this Deontay Wilder that wants to say he's going to beat Mike Tyson? So now it works two ways. If he now goes out and destroys Luis Ortiz, you may look again and go, okay. But then Wilder's already set up. Because check this out. If he beats Luis Ortiz, people say, Luis Ortiz was old. Who did he fight? He was a drug cheat anyway. So all the stuff about Luis Ortiz being the number one fighter in the world, the number one heavyweight in the world, has now been stripped of him. He's a drug cheat. As I said, he's old, blah, 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 blah. So Wilder will not get the credit if he blows Ortiz away. He won't get the credit. By some people who understand will give Wilder credit, despite the fact that how good Ortiz is and what Ortiz brings to the table. But for me, at the moment, from what I'm seeing, I think Wilder's going to be too fast, too agile, too active, too sharp for Luis Ortiz. I don't believe at Ortiz's age that you can just rock up, fight a guy that you expect to get knocked over in a round or two, and then say, "Oh, I'm ready for a world title fight." Get yourself into get in shape, and then fight for a world title. Yeah, you can fight for the world title. Whether you're going to actually win that world title is another matter altogether. And I just don't think Luis Ortiz has been properly prepared to fight Deontay Wilder. I think had Luis Ortiz fought Deontay Wilder after he fought Tony Thompson, around that time, that's where I think Luis Ortiz would have been ready. But now you fight Malik Scott, you fight Dave Allen, you fight a guy that didn't have a hope in hell of beating you, didn't give you any real resistance. What's he going to do when he gets tastes the power for the first time by Deontay Wilder? And let's understand something else as well. Say what you want about Deontay Wilder, but he's had his tough moments. He has been rocked. He has been hurt. He hasn't been down. He has been rocked. He has been hurt. He's been difficult moments where he's landed his right hand and guys have carried on fighting. He had difficult moments. Luis Ortiz, I haven't seen him going through any difficult moments. I've seen him tied in the Jennings fight. I'm not sure if Luis Ortiz can do a good 12 rounds at a hard pace. I'm not sure how good Luis Ortiz's chin is. I don't care how good your skill set is. When you get hit on the chin, and you get hard on the chin, your legs start to go on you, the game plan goes out the window. So I think, for me, Wilder's got to start fast against Ortiz, but he's got to be careful because Ortiz does set traps. He sets traps, but he's slow of foot and slow of hand. And that is the key to this fight. Timing beats speed. I agree. Totally agree. But for you to have timing and to have good timing, you have to be active in this sport. You have to be fighting regularly. And for me, Luis Ortiz has just not been fighting regularly, and he's just not been fighting against opponents to prepare him for Deontay Wilder. And I've said it for the longest while now, I just see Wilder actually wiping the floor with Ortiz early, really getting him out there really early. And if he gets rid of Ortiz early, inside 4 or 5 rounds, I tell you something, people can say what they want about, oh, Ortiz is this and Ortiz is that. But the image of Luis Ortiz being laid out by Deontay Wilder, being flattened by Deontay Wilder, is people around the heavyweight division are going to take another gulp, a deep gulp, and pretend to ignore it. Because if he flattens Ortiz, he would fought a guy that a lot of people considered #1 in the world. A lot of people considered a genuine threat for Wilder, and a lot of people were vouching for to have this fight made. So we'll have to wait and see. But I lean strongly for Wilder. Speed, power, momentum, all leads with Wilder. Even experience, Wilder, I go with. Ortiz has fought too much for me of the same sort of opponent, either guys that come to him or guys that are scared of him. And even if Wilder has that fear of Ortiz, that respect of Ortiz, that'll make him fight better. Ortiz has to capitalize, though, on Wilder's mistakes. Chin up in the air, walking straight back from punches, walking back in straight lines and punches, putting his hands up in the air when he's pulling away from shots. All those sort of things that he does. Wilder can't block a jab. Up to this day, he doesn't block jabs. He pulls his chin out of the way of shots. So all these things that I say are points that Ortiz has to capitalize on. Will Ortiz be sharp enough? I doubt he will. You can do all the training in the world you want, all the sparring and stuff. But bottom line is, when you're in that ring, you know, that's where you get the work. And I just don't think that he's had that work necessary for him to be confident to go in against Deontay Wilder. That's my sort of, you know, beginning and end of it. And if I were Deontay Wilder, if you were listening, I would say, you know, you're doing a good job, son. Keep it up, keep going, forget the haters. But I do think you need a PR team around you, a real professional PR team to take you to that next level. So I really think he needs a PR team. Just so needed today, that the PR team handle your promotions and you just get on with the fighting. And like I said, may the best man win between Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. But for me, Wilder is the man with the momentum, the activity, the power. Both guys hit hard. I just feel that Wilder's been more active. And I think it's going to be an interesting fight. But I expect Wilder to do the job with his hand speed and his mobility against a flat-footed, slow Luis Ortiz. Those are my thoughts. Let's see what people say. Fight of the year, in my opinion, I was going to say Joshua Parker was going to be fight of the year, but we'll see. Klitschko's had only one of his best performance at 40. People age differently. Ortiz is 38. Okay, if you say so. Ortiz isn't 38. He's more 48. I'm looking forward to Andy Ruiz getting back in the mix. Such a talented fighter with a great style. Andy Ruiz, unfortunately, may not be coming to the ring anytime soon because Abel Sanchez says people on social media will basically, and reporters were taking the piss out of his weight. And so basically, Ruiz has continued. I think he's in the construction industry with his father. And I think that's what he's doing now. He really hasn't got time for boxing. That's what it seems to be. I'm very disheartened by the way the media have treated him. But Wilder haven't had any real fight. Well, I would disagree with you there. What do you determine as a real fight? I determine a real fight is when a guy's chucking punches back at you. I determine a real fight is when you're in a fight where a guy's hitting you and he's hurting you, and you're not completely having it your own way. He didn't completely have his own way against Spilka, but ended the job with one right hand. He wasn't having his own way all the way against Molina, but look what he did against Molina. He didn't look great against Duhaupas, but he was in a good fight when for 11 rounds got Duhaupas out at the end. A guy had never been stopped before. So when we say about he's never had a fight before, who now are you talking about having a fight against? So so it's whether you're saying he's had a competitive fight or so. Ortiz now is Ortiz that guy that's going to give him that fight? Because if Wilder goes and blitz him, what are you going to say? I thought Stavern gave him a good fight in the first time round. So I think Wilder has been in fights. Might not be in fights that have been blockbuster sellouts, right? Like Joshua versus Klitschko. But come on, if you want to really look into things, Joshua fought Klitschko, who'd been on the couch for 2 years, and last time he fought was against Tyson Fury. And it's not like Klitschko was unbeaten; he'd been beaten 3 or 4 times before that anyway. So, okay, and then he fought Takam, and who's Takam's best win? And then you'd say to yourself, well, okay, what's Takam doing? What was his best win? So you can go swings and roundabouts. But for me, I think Wilder has been brought on tremendously well by Al Heyman. He has built up a resume. He's fought guys good guys that have tested him at different points, at different times, from southpaw to orthodox, to taller guys, to shorter guys. You know, he's fought different types of guys, guys as tall as him, guys shorter than him, southpaw. He's had a range of different types of guys, guys that are movers. Wilder's had he's had different types of stars put in front of him, different types of tests. He might not be, like I said, a blockbuster. He might not be, you know, but he's fought the guys in front of him, and that's fair play. And he actually beat the guy to become the champion of the world, the guy who actually was legitimately a world champion. He beat him. He didn't win a vacant title. He didn't wear a vacant belt or fought a guy that, you know, won a belt via default because another guy gave him a belt. He actually beat a guy who beat a guy. You can track back the champion. Stavern beat Areola. The fight was vacated because Klitschko retired. That's a little different. But he fought Areola for the title and beat Areola. And, you know, so, and then Stavern had the championship, and then Wilder beat Stavern for the title. So you can track that back. You understand what I'm saying there? So I'm not into all this stuff about, you know, he's not had a real fight. I think he has had fights. That's why I disagree. So I think he's had good fights. I think he's had good learning fights that that should have prepared him for this fight against Ortiz. Yes, Luis Ortiz has lost lots of weight. That's great. He's lost a lot of weight. You ask yourself the question, well, why did Luis Ortiz lose all this weight beforehand? Why is it now, in the biggest fight of his career, he's deciding to lose that weight? Well, here's the good thing. He's lost weight. So you guys will say, great. But what is his durability going to be like once he loses all that weight? How does he respond to a big punch once he's lost that weight? So clearly, they're looking for speed in this fight. So weight is great. Losing the weight is great. But why didn't you do that in the fight before, or the fight before that, or the fight before that? Huh? I don't like to see fighters doing dramatic things come a big fight. I don't like it. I like to see fighters, you know, consistent. You know, developing, growing. You know, this stuff about he's dramatically losing weight for what reason? For what purpose? To give him the best shot of winning? Well, that means before he'd been lazy beforehand. Why is he carrying all that heavy weight all the time? So I'm not caught up in all the weight or losing the weight stuff. No one's trying to discredit him. I am just saying he haven't been in a real fight so far. I would disagree with you there. I believe Ortiz is older than Klitschko. I agree with you there, Mark. Too bad to hear about Ruiz. Seems to have a real talent and was great to watch. Such a shame about Ruiz. Very talented. I hope he doesn't waste it. So real fight. I mean, top level competition. Yes, Ortiz, I think, will be his first real fight. Top level competition. Well, that's again, I would say debatable, but we'll see. However long it will last, it will be a fight to remember. Wilder versus King Kong, best heavyweight fight besides Wilder versus Joshua. Sir L says there is no great heavyweights among the current bunch. All can be beaten. Agree with you there, sir. The thing is that Joshua have 20 fights and already fought Klitschko on the other side. Wilder of 39 fights, his best win is Charlie Zelenoff. Okay. Stavern and Martin, same level. I don't know how you can work that out. Stavern won the World Amateur Championships. He beat David Price and what's his name? Oh, the guy that fought Dylan White the other day. Hellenius. And at one point, if you remember, go back and look at your tapes, people would say that Hellenius was going to be the next coming of the Klitschkos. He was a hero apparent, remember? Bad guy, I'm Team Parker, but Ortiz is better than Parker. Okay. Wilder 1, Ortiz 2, AJ Parker 3, Povetkin 2, 3, Povetkin. Stavern would give anyone in the heavyweight division trouble. Well, Possibly, if he's in shape. I think while the box is long, behind the long jab and the right hand ends Ortiz. That's what I feel too, my friend. Who's got the better resume, Wilder or Joshua? Well, of course, people are going to say Joshua because he fought Klitschko. Right? That's what people will say. Forget resume for a second. Who's the better developed heavyweight? I say Wilder. Wilder's a better developed heavyweight. Resumes don't mean shit when you're on the end of a beating, does it? Resumes development. Has Joshua fought Stavern though? No, he hasn't fought Stavern. So I mean, how does the Stavern how does Stavern do against Joshua? People say, oh well, Stavern will get blown away by Joshua, but yeah, you take the fight maybe 2 years back, people would have said something different. But yeah, no, boxing's about timing. Boxing's totally about timing. Who's Wilder outboxed except Stavern? I don't know about not outboxed. I know who's flattened. I'm not looking at boxing. I'm talking about flattened. How many guys has Anthony Joshua flattened like Wilder? I mean, flattened, laid out, flat, at top level. How many? If AJ blitz Wilder, can we stop questioning him? If AJ gets past Parker, maybe I'll stop questioning him. But every heavyweight is open to criticism and being questioned. Every heavyweight, not just Joshua, Parker, Wilder, Stavern, they're all open to be questioned. I can't see anything besides that right hand Wilder have. That right hand, I know you talk about it, but is it doing the job? I mean, you say, okay, there are guys, I just think you've got to take that right hand away from Wilder, I agree. But nobody's done it in 38 or 36 fights. And if he is the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division. The biggest punch in the heavyweight division. Joshua can't lay claim to it. Parker can't lay claim to it. Now, this guy's laying guys out flat. Flat. No referee to it. Flat. Well, apart from the Gerald Washington fight. But then you saw the power. He's got great cardio. Great point there. Great cardio for a heavyweight. Arsenal 3-0. Damn. Well done, Arsenal. Well done, Arsenal. That's why I didn't watch him. Can you be a champion based on one punch? If you're laying everybody out, then hell yeah, he's the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. I think we become too damn critical. He is what he is. Let's appreciate guys for what they are rather than for what they're not. Okay? If AJ beats Parker and Wilder, he's still open for questions, but who's the king of the heavyweights? But who's the king of the heavyweights will be answered. I'm not quite sure about that. Can a champion be based off one punch? There are many fighters long in history who've been based off punching power. Golovkin is based off punching power. Julian Jackson was based off punching power. Mike Tyson was based off punching power. Not his boxing ability, his punching power, the fact he can knock you out and get you out there. So it's acceptable for Mike Tyson to be, considered a great fighter, yet he never got off the deck and won a fight in all his career. And also Tyson, I mean, who was the best guy Mike Tyson ever knocked out? That's the next question. As far as for me, as far as I'm concerned, is it getting the job done? It's getting the job done. I'm not concerned about the right hand of Wilder. I'm more concerned about his defensive responsibilities. His jab seems to be getting better. I'm more concerned about his defensive responsibilities. That's what I'm concerned about. When he backs up, that's what I'm concerned about Wilder. But that right hand, the only concern you should have about that right hand, if you're an Ortiz fan, is that Wilder doesn't connect. If you're a Joshua fan, that Wilder's right hand doesn't connect. I mean, that for me is in a nutshell. Can Ortiz take Wilder's power? That is what this fight boils down to for me. And can he capitalize on Wilder's mistakes? For me, I said it before, I'll say it again, I see Wilder taking Ortiz out early. You know, 5-6 rounds. I really do. I really do. And if Ortiz wins and he takes Wilder's best shot, if Ortiz takes Wilder's best shot, right? If Ortiz takes Wilder's best shot, yeah, takes his best shot and comes through him, the heavyweight division had better be worried. I mean, really worried. Because if this guy takes Wilder's best shot and best shots and comes through it and doesn't get knocked down, doesn't get knocked out, and he comes through it, man, Joshua better get concerned. Parker get concerned. This guy is very dangerous. Very dangerous. I think Ortiz can win if he don't get Wilder's best shot. Yeah, well, that's easier said than done. Name the opponent that hasn't tasted the power of Deontay Wilder. That right hand will find Ortiz. It will find Ortiz. And Ortiz is no defensive wizard, and he doesn't have fast feet. Remember, Ortiz has slow feet, so he has to get to Wilder. He has to move in position to hit Wilder, all right? So them slow-ass feet. But listen, here's something I'm going to say something now. That's going to flip something completely for you, yeah? Here's something I'm going to tell you. David Haye, oh, not David Haye. David Haye predicts that Ortiz will get smashed by Wilder. David Haye, in every prediction I've seen David Haye give, the other guy ends up winning. So I said, if you want to know how to win a fight, watch David Haye and bet opposite. So don't listen to me, back Ortiz. I think when you are a southpaw, you avoid the right hand easily. Oh, I would disagree. The right hand usually is the key to open up the southpaw. Actually, like you said, Ingram, if Ortiz can take the power and keep going, watch out. Yeah, like I said, but I'm not going with Hayes' prediction. I'm going with Hayes' prediction. I'm actually saying that Wilder wipes Ortiz out of there. I really do. I'm gonna hold to it. Like I held to the belief that George Groves was going to beat Chris Eubank Jr. I believe that Ortiz will get taken apart by Wilder. So we'll have to wait and see. This weekend is upon us, but them slow ass feet, man. Wilder is no excuses. He's younger, he's fresher. Well, age-wise, he's younger, he's fresher, and who knows? Ortiz might become the oldest heavyweight champion in history. He may beat. Well, he's already beaten George Foreman's record. Was what? Foreman was 46 when he won the heavyweight championship of the world. We know Ortiz is older than 46 according to Amir Mansour. Check out the interview. The winner of Wilder versus Ortiz will be the next undisputed champion. Quite possibly, yeah, you're right there. What do I think of Ortiz versus Povetkin? Hi, Ingram. I'm from the States. You should try and interview more fighters from the States. Your question be on point. Yeah, well, I will get back and do some more interviews with American fighters. I've got quite a few American fighters on our list. Just need to get them up more. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, by the way. And you're not biased. Well, people say I'm biased, so I don't know. People say I'm biased. And to close, I hope it's a great fight. I hope, for Wilder's sake, he can show why he is conducting himself and saying that he is the best heavyweight on the planet by doing a number on Ortiz. And for Ortiz, I mean, if he wins, are people going to call him a drug cheat? I don't know. All I know is this: that until the fight, until they're doing the ring walk, I don't know if the fight's even going to happen until they do the ring walk, because this whole thing about this drug cheat situation, we've seen Povetkin about to fight Stavern, and then the fight just go up in here. Let's just hope that nothing else transpires over the next week. Yes, you got a great Q&As. You ask straight up down questions. The way to beat Wilder is close fight. I agree. Short distance. I think it's hard not to be biased. At least Ingram isn't out there trying to cover up his bias and present them as facts. Well, in terms of the Ortiz trail, if you want to find out how old Luis Ortiz is, don't ask me. Go back and listen to my interview I did with Amir Mansour. He said, Amir Mansour's words, I'm 46 years old. Go and look at the Olympic teams that Luis Ortiz was on, and the people were around at that age. And you find out how old Luis Ortiz is. And even listen to what Stavern said to me the other day about Luis Ortiz's age. I don't think he's 60. I don't think he's 60. I think he's between, I would go as better as he's 48 or 49. So yeah, that's about it. Don't forget to check out the description box. And just in the description box, you'll see a membership there. Click on that to join our sports group. So you can get in our sports group. It's on Facebook. And you can ask your questions and suggest fighters maybe I should interview, or suggest topics I should talk about, or all sorts. So check it out. Really appreciate it. So I'm out of here. I've done all my previews. I guess I've got Lucas Brown versus Dillian White. I forget that. I'll have to do that another time. Right, I'm out of here. I'm going to get a rest. I will keep up the good. I'll keep up the great work. Yes, there's only one Tyson Fury, but that Tyson Fury needs to get back in the ring and needs to fight. And he wants to be kicked. If he fights Shannon Briggs, him and Shannon Briggs will be an interesting fight. It'll be even more interesting if Shannon Briggs lands on that chin of Fury, because if Cunningham can drop Fury, I wonder what Shannon Briggs' right hand could do to Fury. Get Lucas Brown on the channel again. I'll try. Wonder if Wilder only pushes so hard because he has metal right hand, punches right. He has that metal right arm. Good question. Later, bro. God bless. God bless you all. Take care. Have a good weekend. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Check the description box. Click the Facebook page and get yourself in to our sports channel group. I'm out of here. Have a great evening. Take care.